So, whenever we talk about letting go in this self improvement, self realization, self love, and even the spiritual community, we talk about letting go as if letting go is just something that you do with effort, as if you can sort of force yourself to let go, right? But if you've ever had any sort of attachment, let's say you were attached to a person, attached to a particular habit or a particular thing, right? You will begin to realize that the more you force yourself to let go, or the more effort you place into letting go, the tighter the hold your attachment has on you, right? And once you begin to realize this, you begin to realize that you truly can let go through effort or through force. And for a lot of us, that leaves a very important question. And that question is, how exactly do you then let go, right? And I think this is something that I faced at some point in my life. I would always hear, you need to let go, let go. And I tried. And the more I tried, the more I failed. But through living and through my own life experiences, through trial and error, I discovered a process which I use to let go in my own life, right? And so in this video, I want to share with you guys a process of what I call non-doing that I've used in my own life to let go, right? And hopefully by the end of this video, you are one step closer to letting go of whatever it is that you've been holding on to. Whether that is a particular person, a particular relationship that ended with a person, or that is a habit, or even certain negative thoughts or ways of thinking. Hopefully by the end of this video, you truly get one step closer to letting go, right? Now, the first thing that you need to understand about letting go, and it's something that I just alluded to, and that is you can't let go through effort or through force. All you can do is become aware of what and when you're holding on. I'm gonna say that again. You can't let go through effort or through force. All you can do is become aware of what and when you're holding on. Now, I really want you guys to ponder on what I just said for a minute. Really sit with that thought. And I want you to bring to your awareness whatever it is that you've been holding on to. Just bring it to your awareness, right? Don't pass judgment. Don't add shame or guilt. Just become aware. Become aware of it. Now, I want you to simply observe all the ways your attachment has caused you to suffer or feel pain. I want you to become aware of all the subtle ways, the small ways your attachment has affected your life and your interactions in your day-to-day life, right? Just observe it. Become aware of it. See it. Now, when it comes on to awareness is something that we greatly underestimate, right? I think we live in a world that is constantly obsessed with doing. But when it comes on to any sort of change, awareness is truthfully the catalyst of any sort of change, right? There's this beautiful quote by my mentor, Anthony DeMello, in which he says, what you are aware of, you are in control of. What you are not aware of is in control of you, right? And whenever you bring something to your awareness, you bring it to your awareness and you observe it, that thing is no longer in control of you. And the more you sit with that thing and you truly bring it to your awareness, the more you sit with it and the more you observe it, the less of a bind that thing has on you, right? And the more awareness you bring to that thing, the more separation you begin to create between you and your attachment, right? So when it comes down to awareness, awareness is a very powerful thing. Awareness is kind of like the light that illuminates the darkness. Awareness is sort of like the hands that sort of untie a particular knot, right? That's how powerful awareness is. So when it comes on to any sort of change, the first thing you want to do is to bring it to your awareness. Observe it without judgment, right? You don't want to pass judgment, and you don't want to add more shame and guilt to your attachment. What you want to do is bring it to your awareness. Observe it. Observe all the subtle ways it affects you. And even if you want to go beyond that, you want to set an intention that you intend to let this go, right? That is very important as it pertains to letting go. In a sense, when it comes down to awareness, awareness can be said to be sort of like a form of surrender. You're surrendering your attachment to a force that is greater than your ego, to a higher force that is greater than your need for control. You're surrendering it, and especially when you set the intention of letting go, right? Before you know it, you begin to realize that you're not as attached to that thing. You're not as so attached to that person or a certain habit as you once were, simply by your light of awareness, right? Now, the second thing that you need to understand about letting go, and this is something that is very important that I personally struggle with in my own life. And what you need to understand, or what you need to do, is you need to become comfortable in the discomfort of the feeling. And when I say you need to become comfortable in the discomfort of the feeling, I don't mean that you sort of need to hold on to that feeling and in doing so perpetuate it. What I mean is that you need to allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to feel your emotions. Allow yourself to sit with those negative feelings without feeling the need to change them, without feeling the need to run from them. Allow yourself to feel. And this is something that I struggled with in my own personal life, right? Whenever I would have a sort of negative feeling or negative emotion, my initial inclination or my initial thought process would sort of be to try to suppress it or run from it or try to change it, right? And in doing so, all I did was perpetuate that negative feeling. All I did was prolong it. But once I began to allow myself to feel, allow myself to be in the midst of that storm, that emotional storm, right? Before you know it, that feeling or that emotion passed on its own. And when it comes on to any sort of negative feeling that we experience, the only way to get through it is to go through it. The only way to get past it is to go through it, right? The only way to go through that storm is to allow yourself to go through that storm without feeling the need to change it, without feeling the need to run from it, without feeling as if you're not supposed to feel how you feel. You want to allow yourself to feel fully. Let yourself feel. Obviously, it's going to be very uncomfortable, right? Those feelings, those negative emotions, that feeling of attachment, or that feeling that attachment has created within you, it is going to be something that is very uncomfortable initially. But you have to understand that the only way to truly get through this storm is to be in the midst of it. Running away from it, trying to change it, trying to suppress it, all you're going to do is perpetuate it. And I know this is something that you've experienced in your own life, right? Let's say you have a negative emotion, right? The worst thing you can do is try to fight it. Because you can't fight the darkness with more darkness, right? You can only shine your light on it. You can only be a beacon of light. So allowing yourself to fully feel, embrace those negative emotions, embrace those negative feelings, let yourself be in that storm is truthfully the only way to come out on the other side. So that is very important. Now, the third thing that you need to understand about letting go is that you need to give yourself time, but don't allow your freedom to be dependent on time. I'm gonna say that again. You need to give yourself time, but never allow your freedom to be dependent or predicated on time, right? And what I mean by that is, very often in our process of letting go, very often in our process of change, we believe that we sort of need to change immediately, right? Or that we need to change right now, right here, and so we sort of force our letting go, we sort of force our freedom to be right here, right now, right? Or we sort of force it to be instantaneous, I should say, excuse me, right? And in doing so, all we do is sort of perpetuate that cycle. And on the other hand, what we also do is that we sort of allow time to sort of become another form of attachment. And what I mean by that is, let's say we're in the process of letting go, or we're becoming aware, we're allowing ourselves to feel, so on and so forth. A lot of us have this mindset or thought process that if I keep doing this, I should be free of this attachment a month from now, right? Or 2 months from now, so on and so forth. And so time becomes just another form of attachment. What you always want to do is you always want to allow yourself to be in the present moment. You always want yourself to live in the present moment, because the truth is that you can only let go in the present moment. You can't let go by forcing yourself to let go. And you can't let go by allowing your attachment, or allowing your freedom, I should say, to live in reference to the future. You can only let go in the present moment. And ironically or paradoxically, once you allow yourself to live in the present moment, you are already free, right? Because you're not living in reference to the past, and you're not living in reference to the future. You are in the present moment, and freedom only exists in the present moment, right? And when we think about freedom, very often we think about freedom as the absence of a negative emotion. But that's truthfully not what freedom is, right? You can be sort of in the middle of a negative emotion, but because you're not allowing that negative emotion to control you, you're not allowing it to control your life, you're being present and aware even in the midst of that negative emotion, you can be free. Freedom isn't necessarily the absence of a negative emotion per se, but it is sort of like you being above the negative emotion in a certain way, or you not allowing it to control every single aspect of your life, because you know that it is temporary. So in a sense, you're sort of in the midst of it because you have to be present with it, but you're also sort of beyond it or above it, in the sense that you don't allow it to control you. And that's what freedom truly is. So whenever you're in the present moment, You bring yourself back to the present moment, right? You're not allowing your freedom to live in reference to the future, and you allow yourself to be present with yourself, how you feel, what emotions you're feeling, right? That feeling right there, you point to it and you say, I feel a bit of sadness right here. I feel a bit of disappointment. I feel a bit of anger, right? That is freedom. Whenever you're aware, whenever you're present, you are free, right? There's never gonna be a point in your life in which you never experience negative emotions, right? Even people who are so-called gurus and saints and so on and so forth, mystics, they experience negative emotions as well. But the difference between them and most of us who haven't ascended to that point in our lives is that they know that it is temporary, and they allow themselves to be present with it, but also to be above it. And they don't allow it to control how they act and to control every single aspect of their lives, because they know that it won't be long until that storm passes. And when it comes on to your negative emotions, when it comes on to your attachments, they are merely just temporary storms. They are things that we experience in the moment, but they're never truly permanent, right? And that is something very important for us to truly understand. And that actually takes me perfectly into my fourth and final point. And this is very important as well. What you want to understand is that you are always free. Even when it feels as if you have a million different attachments, even when it feels as if you are sort of caged in by a million things, you are always free. Freedom is your birthright. Freedom is who you are, right? You are like the sky, and your attachments and the things that you hold on to are simply just temporary clouds, right? Right? Even if you think back on your life, there have been things in your past in which you have been attached to. Maybe people, relationships, friendships that ended, certain old habits, negative thought patterns, right? There have been so many different things that you've been attached to. But right here, right now, you can sort of reflect on the past and realize that you no longer are attached to those things, right? So you are free. It's just that in the moment we sort of allow our feelings to sort of convince us that things are permanent. Or in the moment, let's say we are feeling a certain level of attachment to a particular person, we allow the negative emotions that we feel to convince us that they're permanent, right? When they truly aren't. They're merely just storms, dark clouds, things that we go to because we're human, right? Because we're human, they're simply things that we go to. So a huge part of letting go is to truly give yourself grace, give yourself compassion, give yourself empathy. Know that you are always free. Know that you are human. Know that you're going to be attached to things, attached to people, attached to certain thought patterns, right? All of that is a part of being human. But even beyond all that, or I should say below all that, or beyond all that, probably is a better word. Beyond all that, you are always free. Freedom is your birthright. And never allow your temporary feelings, never allow your temporary emotions, never allow your temporary attachments to convince you that you are not free. Because you are always free. And once you begin to truly understand that you are always free, then when those low moments occur, when those attachments arise, you will navigate them a lot better. You will navigate them a lot freely. right? So yeah, that was probably the last thing I had to say. And so to recap, my first point was that you can't let go through effort or through force. All you can do is become aware of what and when you're holding on, and to truly use your light of awareness and use it to shine light on your attachments, right? The second thing that I talked about is simply allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to be present with those emotions without feeling the need to change them, or without feeling shame, or without feeling as if you need to feel differently than how you're feeling, but to simply allow yourself to feel. Because the only way to truly get through that feeling is to allow yourself to go through it. It's truthfully the only way. And like I said, this is something that I personally had to learn, right? I've had a whole lot of times when I fell, a whole lot of times when, I found myself sort of resisting certain feelings and emotions. But I had to truly bring myself back to truly understand that I'm human and I'm going to feel. And a part of being human is to allow yourself to feel, right? The third thing that I mentioned is to give yourself time, but never allow your feelings to live in reference to time. Don't think that you should feel differently than how you feel now. And don't say that in 2 months' time or 1 month time and 3 months' time, you're going to be free of that feeling or free of that attachment, right? You always want to bring yourself back to the present moment, because the truth is that you can only let go in the present moment. Freedom only lies in the present moment. It doesn't live in reference to the past, and it truthfully doesn't live in reference to the future. Those things are merely just psychological events, because only the present moment truly exists, right? And the fourth and final thing that I mentioned is knowing that you're always free and embracing your freedom. Even in the midst of the negative emotions, even in the midst of storms, knowing that you are always free will help you get through them, will help you navigate them, right? Never ever ever think you are imprisoned. We are the only ones that can truthfully imprison ourselves temporarily. But always know that even yourself can't keep you imprisoned for long, because your higher self, your true nature, your true essence, who you are beyond the ego and who you are beyond these temporary emotions and feelings, is freedom personified, right? So yeah, that's my process of letting go to non-doing. Hopefully this video helped you, and if it didn't, well, it helped me in my own life, and I'm sure people who watch this or people who find this helpful will, I guess, find it helpful. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here with me, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.